She now chairs the next paper. I'm going to welcome her back, even as she gets to introduce to us the speaker of this paper. A big round of applause for her one more time. Much welcome.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, a dynamic tomorrow, navigating risk and embracing innovation for insurance growth. What if somebody told you that the career you passionately pursued and nurtured over the years will be extinct in the next few years? What about the idea that the brands you represent today may not survive in the future? These are the challenges we are currently faced with. Unless organizations deliberately work towards making their brands future-ready, these eventualities may unfortunately become a reality. Our next speaker is a distinguished business leader, having contributed immensely to the transformation of the public sector in Kenya. He has previously served as a company secretary and the human resource manager for the National Oil Corporation and was very instrumental in turning the organization into profitability. He is an authority in pension and retirement benefits matters, having served as managing trustee and CEO of Lab Trust Fund and group managing director and CEO of CPF Financial Services in Kenya. You will all agree with me, such exceptional organizational leadership success would not be achieved in the absence of agility and innovation. In the year 2011, our speaker was conferred the Order of the Grand Warrior, a state commendation by the President of Kenya in 2011. This is for very exemplary service to the nation. He also won the Personality of the Year at the 2017 Pension Awards that sought to award excellence in innovation. We are all privileged to have in our midst an authority on innovation to share insights that we could implement for the success of our industry. Please join me in welcoming the Group Managing Director and CEO of CPF Financial Services, Mr. Moses Kili. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam, for introducing me. The Commissioner of IRA, my good friend Godfrey Kiptum, the Director of Insurance Institute of Kenya, the other distinguished leaders in this room, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It actually gives me a lot of pleasure to be with you guys because although I come from the other related industry, which is pension sector, there is a lot we have in common with each other. I know you do offer a part of the kind of business we are offering, which is you do the administration, the post-administration of pension products, and actually the industry does quite a chunk of it, while the rest of it is done by our industry, which is pension sector. I'm very gratified to be here for the first time to speak with you, and I hope my little knowledge of insurance will possibly enable me to communicate some new ideas, which I think all of us, as we continue developing, need to know so that we can deal with the emerging challenges in the market. So, I don't know, whoever is controlling. Now, the traditional insurance in Africa, and I'm giving it possibly from the perspective of a layman. And it's always very good to get the view of the layperson, the customers whom you offer your products, is that this kind of insurance has been known for more for its low penetration. And this is basically due to what the commissioner said, is the lack of trust and the lack of awareness. I think the understanding by the English word, understanding of the word insurance connotes an element of reinstatement, restitution, which every customer would expect. But what they get is what actually gives them an idea whether it is true or not. Unfortunately, because of historical reasons and maybe because of other challenges which I'm not able to decipher myself, it has not been possible for all the claims to be paid as far as the people are concerned. The unfortunate situation is that whereas the underwriter and the insurance intermediaries are professionals, more often than not, the customers are just basic lay people. The profile of a customer for insurance is somebody who has possibly very little education and therefore is not able to even understand even the small print in your policy documents. The other problem or other challenge is the inadequate insurance products. I think just like lawyers, where I also am a professional in that area, we have not been very creative or willing to embrace change. I hope, and Madam Director, now that you are starting the journey of legislating yourself into law, I hope you'll not be tempted to lock out innovative ideas or even innovative partnerships. I think all of us, we are very cognizant of the recent history of M-Pesa. You can imagine the central bank law, the Banking Act, never envisaged the disruptive technology behind M-Pesa and other mobile telephone products. If you then do the same thing by locking your law, the bill you are working on, and make it and say, okay, we are very protective, it can only be us who can do this business, the customer will simply go to them and just do it either in the black market or do it in a different way. The other challenge you have faced is the poor distribution channels. In most cases, your traditional model has been selling your businesses and products through brokers, agents, and so forth. I think your outreach has not been able to penetrate enough. From what I see and what I've been informed, the industry statistics in Kenya is not very appealing. And I'm happy that here we are beating you guys. You know, I can see that if you look at your total business compared to what you would be able to do, you actually need a lot to do. At least in our pension sector, we pride ourselves to achieving 20 or so % penetration so far. I doubt whether you are even above 3-4%. I don't know. You may need to update my figures, but this because the population of Kenya is huge, and you ought to be really bigger than that. So, moving on, looking at your industry, can we move on, please? Somebody controlling my, where is it controlled from? At the back. I think, Okay. I hope we'll be able to move together. So, I understand that you are in a landscape whereby insurance is evolving. The risks which are coming around are more challenging. There is a consideration of the big ideas. What are the big ideas? And is actually on insurance products and customization. What are we learning from the demands of our sectors of the market like Islamic insurance or Islamic finance? And I think we also need to consider whether our ballooning evangelistic Christian population would also want to see a unique product which is ethical insurance. Is anybody thinking along those lines, you guys in the industry? How much is your decision making informed by data and artificial intelligence? What kind of disruptions are you anticipating or are you prepared to deal with? And what are the opportunities lacking in those disruptive ideas? So I would want to say, therefore, that the future of insurance must be one which first builds from the very low trust quotient you have to at least a much higher level of trust. And two, and this can only be achieved by creating more certainty in your proposition. I think the idea is that you cannot really thrive on promising and not delivering. Many of us, even if we have learned it, we hardly have time to read the fine print. We hardly have time to read the fine print. So can we stop, possibly, using that fine print to take advantage of the lack of knowledge by our population, at least so that you say it's a yes or and a yes is a yes, and no is a no from the beginning. I think that is where I think we need to go. So, the problem which you have, which is low penetration, provides a large opportunity. And I'm happy to say that, ladies and gentlemen, there is a proposal which I'm currently pushing in our Kenyan market on tax reforms and social protection reforms. I'm so determined to push it, and I'm engaging various stakeholders on this idea. Possibly when I will get another opportunity with your team in the next few weeks, we can actually engage. But what I want to tell you is that in my own thinking, insurance penetration can go very high with the mass market only if we can improve on the digital delivery, take advantage of ICT, and collect the premiums in a most affordable manner than what we are doing at the moment. I believe my proposal of what I call the taxation plus, will provide a solution for mass marketing and mass availability of insurance, particularly on two major aspects. One is on the aspect of accident cover for the population. In other words, I believe we should universalize accident cover so that any Kenyan anywhere, in case of an accident, will simply be compensated, regardless of whether they actually did have to take up an insurance cover, because the state will have made sure that they have a cover. And the cover will be the premiums will be financed in a co-contributory manner. The other one is, of course, possibly on the life policy for the citizens. That's the thinking I have put in my proposal, so that we can actually deal with this challenge at the level of the individual. I think we can have a conversation around that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, our middle class is getting increasingly stronger in their purchasing power. I know many Kenyans complain about the cost of living, but I can assure you the fact that their costs are increasing has not dampened the expenditure of the middle class in a big way. There's an opportunity there. The only challenge is, how do we make these products of insurance available to them in an easy manner, in an affordable manner? My take is that if we can offer certainty by measuring the amount of premiums to the level of compensation and cap the compensation levels so that the contract is very well known between the parties, and avoid insuring a higher compensation figure, which when it comes to settlement is not possible to settle, then there's a realistic chance that people will take the insurance cover. Because then they know, even if I pay so much, I will expect to be paid so much, and actually you can actually call it no-fault insurance cover, no-fault insurance cover. That is the area I think you should consider thinking about, as opposed to the one where you look at the exemptions to save yourself from that cost and the other challenges of loss adjustment and so forth. We believe, and I believe, that there's room for mergers and acquisitions so that you can have stronger insurance underwriters. It's not enough that we have too many, just like we should not have too many banks. I'm happy to note that NCPA has acquired AIG and Sanlam has merged with Allianz. So there is a lot of digitization, I think, going on at the moment. And I believe that with the micro insurance products which you are now bringing out through the bank insurance and so forth, I think you have started the journey on the right path. I believe there's opportunities in insuring our forestry. If you can find a way in which you can convince the government to allow you to insure our forests, for example, and the premiums would be recovered as part of the income the government would be able to derive from the forest, which is protected, I think there's an opportunity there. Climate change and sustainability and ESG is our new phenomena. Maybe the only thinking I have around ESG is that there's need to push more on the S and G. I know at the moment most of us are aware more of the environmental, but what about the social and the governance? I think more needs to be done around that, particularly if we can improve our governance of our insurance sector. We would definitely reduce the frauds and other risks which make the cost of insurance unaffordable. Now, the big data opportunities I've mentioned are the next frontier. Now, what else do the customers think? Customers would like to be treated as individuals. They are not prepared for the products which are standard and traditional. They would like to hear you tailor-making the product to fit them. I think this is where the traditional African tailor comes in. Are we prepared for that revolution whereby the customer is saying, I will tell you my problem, and you go and create a product to suit me? That is where the future looks like. Because if free choice is the ultimate expression of freedom, why do you think they should not choose and be treated well and given the choices they want, rather than being given a tailor-made product? What is the restrictions you are thinking around this area? Is it the actuary who is forcing you to remain in the traditional sphere? Or is it the archaic laws which are there, which are making you not get out of the box? I think, and maybe that's why I was invited to speak in this conference, because I'm one person who doesn't believe in thinking within the box. Thinking outside the box is what you need to do. How can you make it possible that I can enjoy insurance at any cost, no prescription? If I have 10 shillings, can I purchase an insurance cover, and can I make a claim off-site, virtually? I don't have to fill any paper. I believe that is the future. Now, how do we punish fraud? Is it possible that the people who are causing fraud are completely removed from the sector, so that at least your industry does not get in the minds of the customers and the public the feeling that you are conspiring, you are in a conspiracy? How do you ensure that you completely remove those people so that you can actually stand out and be considered to be reliable? How is it possible that you can consider group insurances instead of looking at an individual? Can you package products so that families or peer groups or friends or chamas are insured? One of the things I know most Kenyans treat is to be asked to go for medical insurance, as medical tests every time they are taking a new cover. Is there a new panacea solution for that? Because that's an added cost. Definitely medical tests, apart from the disruptive element in them, there's also the cost associated. Is there another way? I think innovation is always thinking, is there another easier way? And is it possible to have something like a claims clearinghouse, whereby the subjectivity of the underwriter is removed? I hope I'm talking to colleagues here who are able to listen to new ideas. In other words, there's a feeling that the shareholder or the owner of the business of insurance is, of course, protective. You will not want to release money. Is it possible then that when it comes to a claim, can it be taken to a clearing house which is objective, where the customer knows I will be treated very objectively, as opposed to dealing with the person who knows that if I pay, my bottom line at the end of the year will have been affected. And the matter can be looked at objectively. Of course, in that clearing out, there should be a representation of both sides. Those are innovative thinking, which even the Commission of Insurance can consider. And these are things which you must also consider as an industry. The other one is, can you come up with a turnaround time which is legislative, so that you don't have the freedom of spending years and years dealing with a claim. Let it have a timeline. I think that's how you'll build trust of the population, that they know when a claim is launched, it will run through the system and it will end within some period of time before people actually feel that maybe the whole thing is a circus. The process should not be a circus, but should be a certainty and the conversation. Now, the model by Takaful, and I don't know why this particular sector is not growing the way I would expect. I believe Takaful, which is promoted by Islamic scholars, is a good insurance methodology, where you pool the insurance, and if there is no loss and no claim made, you have not lost your money. You continue being a member of the pool. This model, I think, can actually be promoted in a bigger way, and the trust quotient of the citizens can actually be higher in this aspect, as opposed to the traditional model you have. So moving on, this is an area which I know a few companies are now pushing, but I think more could be done. The micro insurance, the mobile insurance, and the peer-to-peer insurance, which is expanding access. The challenge, of course, is the coverage and the level of literacy of the customers. But all in all, the combination of this particular mode and the mass media explaining some of these products through the TV channels and possibly to the radio, combined with doing this, would actually create the necessary coverage spread across the different communities. I look forward to a day when livestock insurance of all kinds of livestock would become a reality. The problems faced by our pastoralists, the seasonal losses of livestock, according to me, presents a big opportunity for insurance. The only problem is that in your risk management matrix, most likely you have discounted those customers, and nobody thinks they are worthwhile. But according to me, there is many ways in which this particular product can be offered to this community. I know, because you know there is a certainty of a loss, because droughts must come. But is there a way in which you can configure the product in such a manner that it anticipates drought, it anticipates the famines, and provides a mark of savior? You can imagine, for example, Madam Director and your colleagues, if every year, as the government is being asked by the citizens to come and salvage them by buying off dying livestock, alongside the government, there will be a line of insurance underwriters and brokers handing over checks, even of a quarter of the loss. The trust level you would gain from the citizens would be immense. Because when somebody has lost something, even if you are to give them a quarter of the amount they have lost, and they are able to buy a new or a livestock, that person will understand you very well, that you are a partner in their business and their lives. So move on. How many of us are investing in advanced analytics, the big data, the ability to detect fraud, the artificial intelligence, and possibly blockchain technology? We in our industry, we are working to build capacity in this area so that we can be able to manage risks in a better way. When you begin to deal with a huge number of clientele and a lot of data, expecting to look at manual documentation and make sense out of them, and even find the trails of fraud and other attendant risks is impossible. And that's actually why you begin to have huge losses, which then make it difficult to keep your word when it comes to paying claims. And the first thing you look for is the game being played by insurance underwriters and their lawyers. And I want to say, on behalf of my own colleagues in the profession, the lawyers, we are all working and complicit in ensuring that we find all clever ways to make sure people don't get paid. That's true. We might laugh at the end of the day, but as the Mwananchi in his own wise wisdom says, and right there in this part of the coast where we come from, they say, mbio ya sakafuni uishia wapi? Clever by half. So I think we need to stop this idea of being too clever. The insurance says, you should have read what is written in the contract and the policy. I'm simply not going to take care of you at the end. And I'm going, even if I feel that I really ought to pay, but because I don't have money at hand, and I would want to delay, I would hire the lawyer to waste 5 years or 10 years in court before I settle. By then I would have turned around the premiums, and hopefully would have made enough profits that when I have to pay, I'm paying at the point of the gun. Is that the business we want to run, ladies and gentlemen? I think we need to get out of it. If we ask, and I know, and my studies of insurance law was governed by the principle of utmost good faith. Whose good faith are we talking about? Okay, so if it is both, so what good faith is this game of rigmarole we take our customers around? In this kind of conference today, I would be happy, ladies and gentlemen, if you had our regulator giving us statistics, including the most dirty ones, the dirty linen. How many claims are we taking around in circles for so many years? I think, Mr. Regulator, because you're my good friend and my personal friend, I think you need to do something about this area. When you ask this industry to be honest and truthful and to gain trust, it has to be seen in deed and action. So, disclosure. I think we must condemn our partners and our colleagues who are taking that kind of circle. So me, in the next award ceremony for the best insurance underwriter and an intermediary, I would love that we are awarding, even if the person is made losses because of paying claims, I would rather that's the person who wins the award, not the one who has made so much profits by denying claims. And I hope I'm not starting my chair of session, because I saw the kind of performance of Africa Re, and I was admiring and saying, wow. Most likely you are making so much money, because from what the statistics you are showing, by not paying claims. I don't know. So I think Kenyans definitely have a reason why they never include insurance cover in their budgets. How do we get into this in the mind of the people, so that insurance is part and parcel of all our planning? I know, and many times most of us, I personally have to fundraise to save a relative who could have simply paid 6,000 shillings for medical cover for the family and be possibly taken care of in terms of all the bills at the hospital. But they simply couldn't pay the 6,000. Why? Because insurance cover is not a top of mind thing. Maybe because of the way we promote it and the way we package it. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for that. You need to consider these opportunities on how to build on it. So I want to rush through so that I can end by saying that in the risk parameters, move to the next slide, please. I would like to mention that third-party risk and emerging threats, you have cyber risks. I think this is a big risk all of us are facing. Maybe we need a lot of insurance cover for this, but the same insurance companies are facing this cyber risk. The hacking, the identity theft, the false processing or fake claims, how we are so vulnerable to ransomware and phishing. There are a lot of data breaches, and now it has become a criminal issue. Of course, and I know why we don't publicize some of these disruptive risks and events or incidents in our institutions, is because of the fear of reputational damage. But it is happening. It's happening, I know. If it's happening in the banking sector, it's definitely happening in the insurance sector. What are we doing about emerging challenges which require mitigation on climate change? Is there a way in which we can play a role as an insurance industry in ensuring that this particular risk is mitigated? In most cases, one of the very bold statements in our policy contracts is we do not cover natural disasters, we do not cover acts of God, and so forth and so forth. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? My thinking is that that's the reason exactly people think that your promise is as good as half empty cup. Because a person's life holistically contains all these things. In Kenya, for example, and in Africa, there is a cycle of weather changes which have to happen. El Nino, for example, is coming. So the first thing I know, our insurance companies are now saying, Hapo, Atuko, we are not there. And El Nino is coming. So since we know it's going to be coming, since we know certain weather patterns are going to come, how can we come together as insurance industry and provide mitigation, even if it is not 100% to the community? That is how we will gain trust. So these are the kind of thoughts I put together for you for this morning. I'm not an expert, but I'm looking in from outside and trying to see whether I can challenge you guys to think outside the box and begin to craft products which are relevant to the market we have now. It's a reality that Gen Z and the next generation are the ones who are going to live on this earth in the next few years. They're living now and they're going to live in this earth. Are they going to continue consuming the products as we have them, or they want them differently? In my own industry of pension, it's very difficult to sell pension to many people. If it's so difficult even to sell it to the learned people and the old, how much more difficult is it to sell it to the young? So what we are doing is something called bundling. That's my new proposition, bundling of benefits. And that is my closing remarks. The solution for innovation would include where you combine a product which people must have. They must have. It's the top of mind. If you can combine that with insurance cover and other things which this population would like to enjoy, that sandwich, that cocktail might hold the solution for a rapid expansion and penetration of our insurance industry into the future. So remember this, and we have something we can call either, maybe you can call it Chama Plus. Many ladies cannot do away, they have to have a Chama. Many men must have a club where they discuss buying property. Is there a way in which we can think of products which the population will never miss to go with, and then inside there you slip in an insurance cover so that they don't have to think about it, they will enjoy the samosa. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to me. I hope I made some sense to you professionals.
Thank you, Mr. Kili, for the challenge that you have thrown at us as an industry. And thank you so much for your insights. And ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mr. Kili. Just a brief summary of what we should take from Mr. Kili. We need to throw away the box. In fact, the ideas that he's throwing at us, we do not need the box anymore. It needs to go. When you think about having a product called no-fault cover, yeah, it may seem like it can never happen, but if we throw away the box, everything is possible. We need to work at our trust as an industry. We must be trustworthy. We must seek to pay claims rather than taking our clients around. And then about the future, what are we doing about investing in big data, technology, to analyze, to do analysis and come up with dynamic products? Are we focusing on our customers to have specialized products that serve the customer's needs? Can we come up with mass products covers so that the penetration can increase? What about our future? There is a lot of extreme weather conditions and climatic weather conditions. Which bodies, government bodies as an industry, do we need to lobby so that we guard against the future that could emanate from the extreme weather conditions? So at this juncture, I would like to invite questions for Mr. Kili. And the order of it is that you can raise your hand. The MC will facilitate with a microphone. Just raise your question and then Mr. Kili will answer. It doesn't have to be a question, a comment. Anyone there? Okay, please. Does she have a mic? Okay. Okay, so we have one person there. Any other? So that we can plan on how to distribute the mics.
Good morning. My name is Christine. I just had a question or maybe an area of clarification I wanted to find out. In the issue of simplification and having fine print and not having a 50-page document, we're living more and more in a regulated environment. So the comment I wanted to ask is, in your opinion, how would you be able to balance out the issue of having a 10-point policy document or proposal form with data protection, TCF, and all the other items, anti-money laundering, that we are balancing about? So that's my first comment. Then the second, in terms of, there's a comment of having insurance that makes sense and is affordable. So the question I had was, in light of life insurance and the factor of indemnity, and the fact that sometimes we use salaries, not fixed figures for insurance, how would you balance that out for low? Because there was a comment about reduction of high figures in insurance, or was that only related to casualty lines? Then in the HR aspect, could you kindly make a comment in terms of the insurer professional of the future? What kind of people would we be looking at in terms of skilling?
Thank you. Any other question? Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you, Christine. I think if I understood you well, you are asking about the issue of simplification of the policy contracts you have. I want to imagine and I want to believe that historically, I've not read the history of insurance and the people who came up with insurance contracts. I am sure it was crafted by people who expected to make sure that within the fine print, they put in the insurance law and in a very detailed manner to protect the insurer against actually paying the claims. And I would like to posit that that was done in a similar manner by maybe somebody who similarly also did who crafted the law or the principle of gambling. If you look at the casinos, and many of you may not have gone to casinos, a casino is machines there are rigged to make sure the casino house never loses. Okay? You may try to do whatever you have, but at the end of the day, the casino house will not lose. And that's why they grow bigger and bigger and richer and richer. While their customers grow, I think the same guys who did the contracts for insurance are the same. Now, the simplest way, I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, is how do you simplify that? Simply promise people an attainable cover you can pay. Don't multiply the premium by too many factors and say, we are covering you for 10 million shillings, or 20 million shillings, and somebody has just paid a premium of 50,000. The principle of, call it what in maths? I was not very good in maths. Probability theory, isn't it? The probability of an event occurring. I know that's the business you deal with. So if you can simply use limits, according to me, if you use limits that if you pay so much, I will pay the claim up to this level. So that the person knows with certainty that if I did this, I pay. So that's what I'm trying to say. The person who will be the first one to do it and do it well will actually be the market leader of the future. And you said the law of contract requires certainty. Certainty. So if that can be reduced into just a few lines, it will be better. That is how I'm talking about simplification. On the issue of the life policies, I think the life policies, I know there is actuarial factors you need to use, but also you use the investment model to sort of consider the future earnings from the investment of the premiums on life. According to me, then, it is possible to also have a product which is not extremely speculative, but can also be made more certain. I know the competition exists that when you provide a higher promise, there is a chance that people will come to you. But the danger is that, as I said, one day you'll have to make a payment, and if you are not able to pay because you overpromised, that's the risk. So that's the kind of message I'm trying to pass. I think the time has come, and people are wise enough to appreciate it. Simple is better.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kili, and thank you, Christine, for your questions. Any other before we close the session? Okay. Thank you, sir. I now hand it over to the MC.
Thank you very much. A big round of applause for that power team. Great to have great insights coming through. And it is always an honor and a blessing to do what we do. I told you